All right. So, hi everybody. Good morning. It's Monday morning, and looking to I don't know, no promises as it were, right? So I'm live both on YouTube as well as on Facebook, and I'm actually looking to start a book review. It's something I've always loved and wanted to do. Reading books and talking about them, reviewing those books as a way of being a blessing to yourself more and being a blessing to others as well, right? So, this is a book I'm currently reading, Wealth Building 101. It's a collective by Trump University, Donald Trump University, who, of course, is a billionaire, right? So, I'm basically going to be, I'm not promising, right? But if it's something I think I'm going to do it. So every day, just take like 15-20 minutes, review a chapter of any of, and the books we're going to be looking at are specifically books that are about building wealth, financial books. Those are the books we are going to be reviewing on this channel, right? Financial books, basically. Forgive me, I'm going to be looking up and down. I have a phone there for YouTube and the other one for Facebook, right? So yes, I'm hoping I can do this. If I can, if my schedule permits me to, I really will be glad that if I can do it, I really will be glad if I can do it. So when we're done with this one, Wealth Building 101 by Donald Trump, I'm looking for us to go to this Billionaire Quotes by Stephen McIntyre. Right? So these are books that I cherish, and I'm hoping that I will be able to have a traffic, and I know that these books are powerful. Books are powerful, and they are keys to transforming your life, right? So I'm hoping that I will be able to do this. um I just hope I'll be able to do this. But as a way of getting started, right, my name is Raymond Ijeomah, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur as well as a property lawyer. Or right now, I like to say I'm the lawyer that loves real estate, or the real estate entrepreneur that uses law as a tool in the best interest of my client. So as you're joining, do let me know where you are joining from. I'll be glad to hear from you, your specific thoughts as to what you think about the books. Have you read the book? And if you can't join in reading the book, I can invite you and we can review the book together, right? So basically, today we're going to be starting with chapter one of this book. Again, the book is a Donald Trump University book, Wealth Building 101. This is a critical part of their curriculum, and they don't joke with it. So basically, for this first chapter talks about build wealth, which build wealth my way. That's the title of this chapter, right? And this particular one is an introduction by, or chapter one is basically by Donald Trump. He starts by saying that through trial and error, I've learned how to do a lot of things the right way over the years. And I want to share this knowledge with you. To be successful, you've got to learn and develop these 12 skills. To be successful, you have to develop these 12 skills. And if you know Donald Trump, former president of the United States. Former president of the United States. It takes a lot to become a president of the United States. And beyond becoming a president of the United States, he's somebody that has built wealth, right, as a person. Right. So he mentions 12 skills that we must pay attention to if we want to be successful. And the very first one is number one, get passionate. Number two, be tenacious. Number three, think big. Number four, leverage knowledge. Number five, be thorough. Number six, take action. Number seven, take risks. Number eight, know your audience. Number nine, learn to negotiate. Number 10, listen to your gut. Number 11, enjoy competition. And number 12, be your own best asset. Be your own best asset, right? These are the things he talked about that he's going. So I'm going to just rush through and break them down, right? First is passion sounds out of place in business, but it's at the top of my list. I know for a fact, and from my own knowledge, that it's probably critical to achieving any kind of long-lasting success. I need to read this part again because I think it's very, very, very important to all of us. So passion sounds out of place in business, but it's at the top of my list. I know for a fact, and from my own experience, that it's absolutely critical to achieving any kind of long-lasting success. Exactly what is passion? Passion is enthusiasm on a big scale. If you don't have passion, everything you do will fizzle or at best will be mediocre. Right? I have places that are underlined already, so I'm just gonna skip to parts that make sense because it's a book review. I'm not expected to read all of the lines. Right? And if that says something very critical, right? How do you get passion? A lot of us talk about passion, passion, passion. The question is, how do you get passion, right? Or how do you become passionate? And if that started by saying, size up your interest. What do you love doing? Ask yourself, can I develop any of this interest into a viable source of income? In the Nigerian space, we have a lot of persons who say, oh, I want passion. I have passion. This is my passion. This is that is that, and all of that. And there is nothing tangible about their passion that can translate to money. And at the end of the day, somebody said that you now become passionately broke or passionately poor or poor and passionate, a poor passionate man, that kind of thing. And I don't think you would like that. So whatever you do, can I come up with a personal blueprint? Do I have a foundation in place or it works for this blueprint? Cover your bases and then act. Very often, the dividing line between success and failure is lack of passion. This is directly from Donald Trump, and it tells you this goes a lot to talk about how important passion is, right? So very often the dividing line between success and failure is lack of passion. I'll just go to the next one, which is be tenacious. That's number 2. People think I was born with the Midas touch, and I admit I've been very fortunate. I got a very great education from the schools I attended and from my parents, but I learned to be tenacious when I started in business. That's important because most things don't happen overnight. Most things don't happen overnight, right? Let me skip to the part where it gets more serious. As I write this chapter, we are on schedule to finish Trump Place along Hudson River in New York City by 2008. With 16 buildings, is the largest development ever approved by the New York City Planning Commission, and will transform the once neglected west side of Manhattan into a very desirable place for residents to live. I bought the land in 1974. That's a long time to wait. If I hadn't been tenacious, Trump Place would still be in my head. I think there's something very critical about this part. He says that even though this part talks about being tenacious, it says that he bought the place that he built 16 buildings, the largest development ever approved by the New York City Planning Commission. And the land in question he bought it in 1974. And the time he was doing this development was in 2008. So that's 1974 to 2008. That's a very long time to wait. And yes, he said that that's a long time to wait. And sincerely means that a lot of development would have happened in that place between 1974 and 2008. And that, if you also know Donald Trump very well, you know that he's a billionaire and real estate is part of his major business, right? And as we've always said, I'm still looking for that wealthy man out there that doesn't own real estate, directly or indirectly. I'm still looking for that man. And it just tells us one thing. Andrew Kennedy says that 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. So if you want to become a millionaire, or if you want to be wealthy, then you're going to have to make a decision to start investing in real estate. And land banking is one concept we've always talked about, right? And this is Donald Trump proving to us that land banking works. Waiting from 1974 to 2008 is a very long time, and one would expect the kind of appreciation that land would have already gotten, right? So let's just keep to the part where he says, I don't accept excuses to get to work. Let me read it so that we put it in better perspective. Sometimes the most talented people fail Why those far less talented succeed? Why? Because those who succeed move forward with confidence. I don't accept excuses in this area, so get to work. Let me read that again very quickly. Sometimes the most talented people fail. Why those far less talented succeed? Why? Because those who succeed move forward with great confidence. I don't accept excuses, so get to work. So you shouldn't accept excuses. Don't accept excuses. Get to work as fast as you can without excuses. And the next one is think big. Think big. Think big. When you were a child, would you have liked to keep crawling when everyone else was walking? I don't think so. We all have to start with small steps. But the point is, get to the biggest steps you are capable of taking. Get to the biggest steps that you are capable of taking. It means that there is the capability inside of you already. It means that there is that capacity inherent in you already. Everyone has natural potential to be able to achieve certain results, right? But until you make that move towards bringing out that potential that is inherent to you, and you can achieve results. Coming to the office this morning, I was listening to a powerful podcast, and he invited Steve Harris, and he was talking about how there is your environment and there's your environment. Your environment comes from within you. It is your inner being, right, which largely determines your external being, because what you are from the inside is what determines what you are able to bring out on the outside, right? So your environment determines your environment. And if you don't bring out your inner being, your inner powers, your inner potentials by way of your environment, then your environment, nothing will happen in that regard. There's no result that will come out, because it's your environment that now shows the results that you are reflecting, that you are bringing out from the inside of you, right? So again, I like to say, get to the biggest steps you are capable of taking. Thinking small will limit your potential. Thinking big will take you places. He further says in the next paragraph, successful people like big challenges, or successful people like challenges. It's our nature. I guess this is the part where you have to also say this to yourself, right? Successful people like challenges. It is our nature. So I'm adding myself to that equation, right? Successful people like challenges. We like challenges. It is our nature. Keep in sync with this basic premise. He says it is basic, so you must have it at the back of your mind. It must be in your head that successful people like challenges, because those are the challenges that actually evolve them and make them become who they eventually become, right? Striving from an early age is one secret to success. Striving from an early age is one secret to success. And 3 tips will guide you here. Number 1, ask yourself why your plans are so small, then begin to expand the horizon. Number 2, concentrate on managing your future, not your past. Learn from the past, don't stay there. Number 3, look at the solution. Never focus on the problem. Look at the solution always, never focus. See, life will always bring challenges your way. Life will always bring challenges your way. But it's your responsibility to look away from the problem and focus on what the solution is. The next point is leverage knowledge. Leverage knowledge. Leverage knowledge. Let me just keep to the part where it says, without imagination and the ability, so it basically established importance of knowledge and all of that. And he further had to emphasize that having knowledge is important, but leveraging knowledge is more important. In other words, for you to leverage knowledge, you have to bring in imagination, use your mind, be creative with your mind, and then merge that with the knowledge that you eventually get in that particular field. Because having knowledge is not enough. Having knowledge is not what triggers you. It is the use of your knowledge in line with your mind, your creative mind, your creative potential is what brings out the best in you. That is how you are able to leverage knowledge. And in driving that point, it says, without imagination and the ability to visualize possibilities, what would be the point of great knowledge? So in other words, knowledge is not important enough until you are able to bring in your mind in a way to create something out of it. And the next point, it says, be thorough. Be thorough. Be thorough. There's really no such thing as knowing too much about what you are doing. When I was in college, I spent my spare time reading about real estate and foreclosures. I didn't feel it was a sacrifice for my time because I was interested in real estate. I was studying just to pass. I wasn't studying just to pass the test. The knowledge I gained on my own led to my first successful investment. I couldn't have achieved that if I hadn't spent time studying on my own. And here he now later talked about the importance of what, why, when, how, where, and who. And the next point is take action. Knowledge isn't only enough, or knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to act on knowledge. Knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to act on knowledge. You have to act on knowledge. And the last part of that paragraph says, don't underestimate anything until you've tried it for yourself. Start practicing. Start doing. It's one thing to have knowledge. It's one thing to have a great vision. It's one thing to have the best ideas. There's this thing that people say lately, that being the best at what you do is not what matters. No, let me not say it that way. But the point I'm trying to drive at is the fact that action is what actually brings out the results that you expect. It's great to have great ideas. It's great to think big. If all you do is think big, have great ideas, and just leave it at that without taking action, then nothing is going to come out. No result is going to come out of it. Right? So taking action is critical to everything you want to do. He says here that my first big real estate job was turning around a 1,200 unit residential development with 800 vacant apartments that had become a disaster. The developers had gone under and the government had foreclosed. I learned a lot, made a good profit, and got the confidence to take the next step in my real estate career. That wouldn't have happened if I hadn't put my knowledge to work for me. I studied and prepared, but then I took action. So taking action is critical. Again, Donald Trump is a real estate person. He's a real estate billionaire, right? And real estate, as we've always said, can make you a billionaire. You just have to learn the ropes, learn for yourself, bring in the right people into your circle, the right professional, the right team, and with everyone put together, you can achieve your goal of becoming a billionaire through real estate, right? And the next part, it says take risks. Take risks. Many people are afraid to fail, so they don't try. They talk, but they don't do. That's the perfect formula for failure. I need to say that again. It says many people are afraid to fail, so they don't try. They talk, but they don't do. That's the perfect formula for failure. My advice, take some risk even if you fail. Everyone has failed at some point in their lives. Everyone has failed at some point in their lives. And if you choose not to do, if you choose not to get something done, then of course, somebody said that the only way you don't get criticized is if you don't act, if you don't do anything, right? So if you want to succeed, if you want to get results, in fact, another person said that failure is a path to success. And failure is not failure as failure, but failure is simply another way of telling you that you didn't do it well, another way of letting you know how to do it better. And it's in you knowing how to do it better that you're able to achieve success, right? So failure is always a path to success. And if you are afraid to fail, then you are not going to get results. You're not going to succeed. If you're afraid to invest, you failed before, you invested in real estate before and it didn't turn out well, invested in real estate before and it didn't come out well, then that should not be the reason to stop. It is rather the reason to get the right people or get better people involved in what you are doing so that you cannot achieve results, right? In fact, I've had a lot of clients doing the business of real estate myself. I've had a lot of clients who had bad experiences with investing in Nigeria. I've had bad experiences. My land was taken. This happened, that happened. There will always be that story. But I like to tell them that if you have to stay on that story and use because of that to decide that you're not going to invest again, then that becomes a challenge. At that point, failure is established. At that point, a limitation is established, right? So if you want to succeed, then you have to keep going no matter what happens on the way. The only thing that you should learn is, how did I do it before that it didn't make sense? Why did I fail before? Why did the land, why did the deal go wrong? What did I do, or what didn't I do right that led to the deal becoming a bad deal, right? So when you establish that, you can now know how to better do real estate so that everything makes sense. And the next point, it says, know your audience. Know your audience. You've heard the phrase life is a performance, and it's true. No matter what field you are in, large parts of life and business involve acting. Acting encompasses people skills, negotiation skills, public relations, salesmanship, and the ability to read your audience. Whether your audience consists of 4 people in your office or 40,000 watching television, learn how to know your audience. And it is in you knowing your audience that you're able to sell to them properly. If you're in business, whatever you do, right? Next point is learn to negotiate. Negotiating is critical in the life of every successful person. It says negotiation is one of the keys to business and life. Think of it as a personal diplomacy. It can be complex, but it doesn't have to be daunting if you take the time to think and finesse your technique. Learn to negotiate. Learning to negotiate is invaluable if you hope to connect in a way with other people. You've got to understand where the other side is coming from if you want to. I will encourage us to really look deep into the concept of negotiating, and then it further talks about listen to your gut. Listen to your gut. We all have guts in us, right? But we must learn to listen to it. It's one thing to have the guts, it's another for you to listen to it. In fact, there's learning from there's having the guts, there's recognizing the guts, and there is listening to the guts, right? So you must learn to listen to your gut. We all have instincts. The important thing is to know when to use them. Knowing how to use your instinct is a mystery, even to those with sharp business skills. Some instincts you can't explain, but there are signs that can guide you to or away from certain people and certain deals. Right? So it's important that you listen to your instinct. You have to recognize it. And I this is not part of the book, but I think I can just personally say this, that you have to learn to train your mind. And how you have trained your mind over time. All right. I think we're good. So this is not part of this book, but I think that how you have trained your mind over time can affect or determine what your instinct or your gut is. In other words, if you have been cowardized all your life, if you have been afraid of doing certain things all your life, if you have been that guy that easily just gets afraid of anything, investing, doing this, doing that, and all of that, at that point, when opportunities come your way, because you have trained your mind to always be afraid of taking risks, doing certain things, making certain moves, automatically it has a way of reflecting back to you, and you now take that as your instinct. And just before you know it, your instinct become mediocre as well, or average, as the case may be, right? So you need to learn to listen to your instinct or your guts, and beyond that, have a way of growing your mind to accept challenges and become the better version of itself. And then the next one is enjoy competition. I like competition. I think it is healthy. And it further went to give instances, and as a way of rounding this off quickly, it says that competition fires me up. Competition pushes me to expand and extend my efforts beyond what I thought was possible. Competition will always push you. Be in a circle where there are investors. Be in a circle where somebody says, I'm buying 5 properties this year. Another person says, I'm buying 2 houses this year. Another one says, I'm buying just be in the right circles, and that kind of competition can help you to fuel the inner, bring out the best version of you. Before you know it, you realize that you can even do better than you ever thought by way of engaging in healthy competition. So your circle has a way of impacting you. Even your external circle now, by way of, say, business, your competition, and all of that, right? Find a way to just derive inspiration from the competition that is around you, either within or external, right? So it further ends by saying, competition pushes me to expand and extend my efforts beyond what I thought was possible. Competition pushes me to outdo myself. I love competition. Ultimately, it makes me bigger. And the last part of it says, being a brand might sound complex to you, but it's not. Being a brand simply means that you are your own best asset. Being a brand means that you are your own best asset, right? And in summary, it ends by saying that believe in whatever you put your name on and make sure it reflects who you truly are. You want to be an investor, you want to, whatever you want to do personally in life, right? Just find a way to be a brand about, build a brand around what you are doing. Build a brand of being an investor, being a brand of being a successful this, a successful that, and a successful that. And the last lines of this book says, are you ready for the challenge of creating and building unlimited wealth? You've got to do the work. That work that's going to teach you how to create and build the wealth you want. That's the last part of chapter 1. And chapter 2 talks about developing a mindset for success. Chapter 2 talks about developing a mindset for success. And I'm hoping I keep doing this as often as I can. If I can do it every day, fine. If I can do it every 2 days, that's also fine, right? But again, my name is Raymond Ijeomah, and this is me just having a chat with you as a book review for the books I'm reading, right? Again, this is Worth 101 by Donald Trump University, and when we are done with this book, we are going to be reviewing this by God's grace. Billionaire Quotes by Stephen Akintayo. These books are, like I mentioned in the beginning, all of the books that we're going to be doing are wealth book on finance, book on money, because it's important, very important, right? And that's largely also based on what we do at Fortreal, right? We're a real estate company here in Abuja, and we can help you start a real estate investment journey. For all of the books that we're going to read, real estate is going to be part of the conversation, because you can't talk about wealth and not talk about real estate. And I know you want to be wealthy, so if you want to be wealthy, it means that you need to consider investing in real estate. And we're a company that can help you in doing that. We're a company that can help you build wealth through real estate investment. So again, my name is Raymond Ijeomah, and this is brought to you or powered by Fortreal Ray Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope to see you tomorrow, or maybe next, but I don't know when, or whenever I go live. If I can make it daily, I will try my best. Ladies and gentlemen, do let me know in the comment section how this has impacted you. Let me know if we should continue doing this. So, because with this, you and I can start reading books. That's what it means, right? And having a chat, having conversations around books. And you know how important books are, right? Ladies and gentlemen, catch ya.